should I have my own car and house before getting married, even if I desire a wife and I believe I have found the one that brings me joy?
Well, congratulations.
Yeah, let's go, TJ.
What do y'all think?
I got married when I was 23. My wife was 21. I remember sitting in my mom's garage crying. Like my wife was holding me. What's with this theme of being held by her? But she was holding me, and we both were crying. Why? Because we didn't have a place to live, and we were getting married shortly. But we just believed that God had spoken to us. Like we believe it. We believed it. And
how long were you guys engaged?
Probably I think probably like November to September we were engaged. It was going to be like a 2-year engagement, but I asked her to move that thing up. I was like, look, baby.
Pretty short engagement.
Yeah, short engagement. But I'll say that the struggle when you don't have much, like it really created this back-to-back. Ecclesiastes talks about a triple braided cord.
Yeah,
it's not easily broken. And one standing alone can be easily conquered, but two standing back to back, And I'll just say, man, those hard moments when we didn't have any answers, we didn't know how it was going to work out, like it caused us in the trenches to really depend on each other. And I'm looking at that like I'm talking to you, TJ. But it really caused us to depend on each other and trust God more together.
Yeah.
So I just don't know that there's an equation. There's, it's like having a baby. You're not necessarily ever going to be ready.
Yeah. Now I will say this.
Have an idea though.
I think you should at least have your own vehicle.
See, here's the thing. I didn't have my own vehicle.
You didn't have a car?
I'm going to keep it 100. Look, let me tell you this story, Ruslan.
No.
Okay, my wife, she had the car. Okay, let me tell y'all. Look, this is how good the Lord is. Accept Jesus. Okay, accept Jesus in your heart. He'll bless you. Watch this. This is how crazy me and my wife, we're married now. We have one car. It's her car. We are pregnant with my son. I drop her off at work. It's her car that she had before we got married. And I take the car, and she's pregnant at this time, waiting on tables at Johnny Carino's. And she calls the police because she forgets that she goes out to the car, and she goes out to the car. The car's gone, and you
went and picked up the car.
And I had the car, man. I had the car, and then she remembered, and she was like, "No, it's okay, sir. It's my husband. He has the car." So I just want to tell somebody. That the Lord can bless.
So hold on, let me.
They don't pull people over.
Let me show you. When I had started desiring to date someone, I had a list.
Yeah.
And one of the things, where did you live? Where do you live, TJ? Where did you live?
I lived in the Inland Empire area.
Okay, so you lived with like
Rancho,
I can understand
Ontario,
if you're like
Upland.
in New York City or like somewhere you don't need a car.
I didn't have a car.
This man didn't have a car. Okay.
I didn't have a car. It got repossessed. I needed Jesus. I still do.
My list had for my wife, it had nothing physical attraction, nothing like that.
Yeah.
But one of the requirements was that she at least had to have a car.
Well, my wife did, so it was
good. But that's because I had a car and I wanted her to have her own autonomy in that regard. So this is what I would say, TJ. And okay, he's in South Carolina. TJ, my brother, if you need a car, go get a car, bro. Go get a car. Go bust some tables, go mow some lawns, do something, save up.
That's real.
My 17-year-old nephew just bought an $1,800 Acura that he saved up for.
That's good stuff.
Saved up for, out of pocket, hustled, did the same thing. My 21-year-old niece bought a $10,000 car. Her first car. She was riding around my 06 Prius that I just gave to my sister-in-law, sold to my sister-in-law. Part gave, part sold because it's sort of way under market value. And she was driving that around and saved up $10,000 and went and bought herself like a 5-year-old car.
Come on.
You know what I mean? As a 20-year-old. Yeah. And so if you, TJ, if you are not paying for rent,
that's real. That's real. Come on, bro. Yeah, you can do it, TJ.
What are you doing with all your time,
TJ.
my brother?
Like
straight up, like you're not paying for rent. you should be able to scrape together $2,000 and buy yourself a 20-year-old car that could hold you down. My first car was a 1984 Toyota Celica hatchback gold. And we would cram in there. It was like, you know, that little thing where the clowns pull up,
Yeah.
and more. That's how it was when I pulled up to church. So you could do it, TJ. I say, listen. I say at least have a car. I would say at least have a car. I think it's ideal, not necessary, that you can provide for yourself, if possible. Hey, you want to see something kind of crazy? Over 75% of the people that watch this channel are not subscribed. Please consider subscribing and turning your bell notification on so that you don't miss anything we have going here. Now, you live in South Carolina. The cost of living is cheaper.
Yeah.
Maybe he's in the country. Maybe there's no jobs. I'm really trying to understand the psychology of someone that is, you know what I mean? I think you had some other traumas that you needed a therapist that you weren't working through when you didn't have a vehicle. But praise the Lord, you're good now.
He works it out.
Amen.
Yes, we
Look
are.
at you
Yes, we
Now,
are. Come on, somebody.
You have a car now?
I do.
Okay, praise the Lord.
We have 3 cars.
Praise the Lord. You got 3 cars now. Look at God. Look at God. All
Somebody
right.
says we'll have a
That
car.
question though
Let's
is like
have a car.
Matthew 16:26. What does it profit man to gain the world but lose his soul?
Uh-huh.
So like, was the question about waiting, you know, and the idea of like, you know, sex.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's an interesting thing. It's like if you feel the motivation to raise money to have a car and a safe place to live so that you can bring your wife home to, those are beautiful things to be motivated by.
Yeah.
And so I think like the energy, like we can see in the Old Testament what it looked like to prepare a place for a spouse. So I think there is something to putting energy and work in if you're that passionate.
That's good.
Yeah. And someone, see, this is what the chat got no chill. Pete said, why every time Ruslan passes judgment on how and what you should do, he always makes himself as the point of reference. I, me, mine. Because, no, you don't have to block him. Thank you, though. Because I'm telling you, if I'm coming from an environment where there's no father in the picture, I'm molested as a kid, I have a single mom that's raising me, and I'm able to scrape together $1,800 to buy my first car. If I'm able to do that, I think anyone should be able to do that. I think anyone should be able to do that, especially someone that's living rent-free in South Carolina. So then the issue doesn't become, do you have the means? The issue is, do you have the mindset to believe that you can get yourself a car? And the truth is, there were certain things I didn't have the mindset to do that ended up hurting me later in my marriage. I didn't have the mindset to say, I needed therapy. I didn't have the mindset to say, I need to stop looking up. I didn't have the mindset to say, I need to actually develop myself into a more competent provider, because I didn't have the mindset. It became a self-fulfilling prophecy. I went into marriage and I had to work all this stuff out on the other side of being married, which was hurtful to my wife, to and now being on the other side of that, I'm like, yo, don't be like me. Like, don't be the guy that like didn't know how to provide, didn't know how to care for a family, and then had to get on the job training.
Figure it
Like,
out, as you're
figure
going
it
along.
out while you have the luxury to figure out. If you don't have no expenses, you don't have no rent, man, figure it out. And it's not that complicated, but it does start with the mentality. If you don't believe you can do it, if you believe you can do it or you believe you can't do it, either way you're right. That's how, either way you're right, you know? So don't rush into a marriage because you want to have sex, you know? But I do feel like if you're not paying for rent, you should be able to figure out. You said $600 on rent though. I got to cut down on eating out, confession made. Cool. So at least you're taking care of yourself. Like,
That's
bravo,
good.
that's amazing. Keep that. Cut out some of the eating out, save up some money, scrape together a couple grand. Bro, you're halfway there. You're already taking care of yourself for rent. I wasn't doing that. So you're already halfway there. So all you got to do is scrape together a couple grand, a little less Uber Eats, a little less DoorDash, a little less video games, a little more extra shifts, a little more mowing lawns. You could have a car in 6 months. And maybe no one's ever told you that, but you could have a car in 6 months, bro. 6 months, 12 months max. You could have yourself a nice, reasonable car, $5,000 or less that can last you for 2 to 3 years. You're good. So yes, I think you can do it. I think you should do it. I think you are capable. You are capable. If you don't believe you can, then you just be like, man, I'm just gonna coast. And I don't want you to coast with another human that you are responsible for. That's what I don't want. All right. You guys got anything to add to that before we move on to some of these other questions?
Nah, man. I did have a car, just we got repossessed. Okay.
You had a car.
I just want to clear things up.
Respect. Thank you.
on.
All right.
I think the idea of a relationship as something to invest into.
Yeah.
is like more worthwhile than investing into anything else.
Yes.
You know,
Yes.
into putting energy and like intentional moves towards making this, a future, a present. It takes all of that energy of setting your mind towards that goal. Like you're talking about, it's possible.
It is, man. I think we're capable of so much more. And I just go, guys, we have the spirit of the living God in us.
Come on.
And we don't think we could get a car?
Yeah.
You don't think you can get you don't think you can figure it? Like, come on, man. That's how I see it. That's how I see it. Philippians, it says, work out your salvation with fear and trembling, for it is God working in you, changing your desires to obey him.
Yeah.
The Spirit of God is living in us, changing our desires to obey him. And we're like, I don't know if I could work a couple extra shifts to save up $3,000 to get a car. I don't know, man. That's kind of wild to me. Okay. Hey, this is a segment from our daily after party stream. Consider partnering with us online for as little as $5 a month to get access to these daily after party streams completely unedited. You'll also get access to our podcast as they are streamed live into the community before anyone else gets to see them, get to interact with our guests, get access to our private Discord server, and a discount code for our store for as little as $5 a month. Ultimately, that will help towards helping us continue contextualizing the gospel using media and podcast here on YouTube. All right, I'll see you over there. Peace.